So let's have a look at more examples under sequences. And the question say, write down the fifth and seventh terms in the sequence below. So we want the fifth and the second term. So we should be able to predict. Look at these numbers, study them, and predict the next pattern. And the numbers that we want, or the terms that we want, is the fifth and the seventh. So looking at Roman 1, we have 0, 3, 8, 15. So you ask yourself, what do you do from 0 to get to 3? Or what do you need to add or subtract from 0 so that you can get to 3? You realize here that you just need to add 3 to 0 to get 3. For you to get to 8 from 3, you just realize you need to add 5. From 8 to 15, you observe that you need to add 7. And therefore, when you study, exactly what is happening here is that we can comfortably say that we are adding odd numbers. We are adding odd numbers. So what is the next odd number that we are supposed to add to 15 for us to get to the next term? So that is 9. So if we add 15 plus 9, we get 24. So 24 is the fifth term. Then we also need to get the seventh term. So first of all, we get the sixth term, then eventually the second term. So the next odd number after 9 is 11. So if you take 24, add to 11, you get 35. Then the next odd number is 13. If you take 35, you add 13, you should be able to get 48. And therefore, the fifth term is 24 here, and the seventh term is 48. Now, let's have a look at a different example. Example 2, what do we need to do to 21 to get 15? We need to subtract some value here. So what is that value we are subtracting? 6. So what do we need to do from 15 to get 9? Again, we need to subtract 6. Here, we again need to subtract 6. So if we want to get to the next term, we again need to subtract 6. So what is 3 minus 6? 3 minus 6 is negative 3. Then from here again, to get to the next term, we need to subtract 6. So negative 3 minus 6 is negative 9. Finally, also from here, we need to subtract 6 and get negative 15. So the fifth term here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's negative 3. And the seventh term is negative 15. Now, I want you to try the third example. It is closely related to the first and second. The only difference here that is that the terms, we have negative terms. So you can easily try this and you can just predict. Look at the pattern, negative 15 and negative 12. There's some thing you need to either add or subtract. Negative 12, negative 9, there must be some constant. So let us look at example 4. When you look at example 4, you realize that from 1 to a quarter to a ninth to 1 over 16, there is no constant term that you're either supposed to add or subtract. However, you realize that 1 is a square of a number, and that number is 1. It is a square of 1. When you look at a quarter, it is a square of half. What do I mean by square? If you take 1 and multiply by 1, that is, if you square 1, you get 1. If you square a half, you get a quarter. Then 1 over 9 is the square of a third, meaning if you square a third, you get 1 over 9. 1 over 16 is the square of a quarter. And therefore, the next number that we are supposed to get here should be the square of 1 over 5. Because here we have 1, which can as well be written as 1 over 1, 1 over 2, 1 over 3, 1 over 4. So the next should be 1 over 5. So the square of 1 over 5 will give us the next number, and that is 1 over 25. Then to get to the next number, we have to get the square of 1 over 6. If you square 1 over 6, you get 1 over 36. Then to get to the next number, you have to get the square of 1 over 7, and that is 1 over 49. So the fifth term here is 1 over 25, and the seventh term is 1 over 49. So you realize that I've left for you an exercise in form of this third example because it is closely related to the first and second example. So if you get a solution, kindly drop it in the comment box so that I am able to know whether you did it right or wrong. If there's any difficulties, please, you can get us through the channel.